Episode 5 of The Sandman Season 2 begins with Morpheus telling Lucien that he has never been interested in finding destruction, yet someone seems to be pushing him to do just that. She thinks it would be good to know why Destruction left, so Morpheus reveals that Destruction actually tried to tell him but he didn't listen. We then cut to 1675 in London. Destruction invites Morpheus to Earth and shares his fascination for humanity, but he hates that in the name of science, humans are destroying themselves. Morpheus doesn't really care though, as it doesn't affect the Endless. Their only purpose is to serve humans. Destruction is upset by this aloof attitude. At present, Morpheus wonders why Destruction abandoned humans if he cared for them so. Lucien thinks it is to avoid being responsible for the destruction, no pun intended, and the shame of destroying those he loves. Morpheus can relate to the second half of this as he attends Wanda's funeral held by her conservative family who dead name her. They go as far as to dress her as a man, and Morpheus insists that she was happy as herself and her aunt finally calls her Wanda. Once the family leaves, Morpheus and Death change the name on the gravestone to Wanda. Death pushes Morpheus to check on Delirium while she meets Wanda. Death is angry on her behalf, but Wanda doesn't care about her human body. She is at peace as Death takes her to the afterlife. Meanwhile, Morpheus visits Delirium's realm, which is rather chaotic. It's full of traps like a hallucination of Nada, and he passes them all. He sincerely apologizes to Delirium, and she instantly accepts this as she has always liked him. He offers to resume their quest, but without hurting anyone this time, which means asking Destiny for help. We then cut to Destruction enjoying his time on his island. He keeps running through creative hobbies and his pet dog Barnabas teases him all the while. The dog accidentally mentions dreaming and Destruction vehemently refuses to dream as he doesn't want to get in touch with his family. Said family do then arrive in Destiny's garden. He reminds Morpheus of their promise to never look for destruction. However, Morpheus doesn't want to break his promise to Delirium and begs Destiny for help. Destiny gives in and tells him to ask an oracle of the family. This happens to be none other than Orpheus, Morpheus and Callope's son. Morpheus realizes that this is all linked to the Fates' prophecy. Flashbacks then take him to 1700 BC in Greece. Orpheus has a nightmare of Eurydice dying on their wedding day. Morpheus reveals that, as his son, Orpheus too has the power of dreams, but he doesn't take much stock in the nightmare. Soon the wedding takes place and all the Endless attend. Orpheus is too shy to dance and Eurydice takes him to a secluded meadow. That's where his nightmare comes true, where she is bitten by a snake and dies. Morpheus tries to comfort Orpheus, who doesn't think he can move on. He begs Morpheus to help trade his life for Eurydice's, but Morpheus refuses, which leads to an angry Orpheus cutting ties with him. Orpheus takes things into his own hands next. However, Destruction stops him from killing himself. The Endless helps him contact Death, and she is hesitant but helps as well, making Orpheus immortal so he can enter the underworld. Once he arrives in the underworld, he sings a song which moves everyone. Hades reluctantly offers a boon. Orpheus can take Eurydice back with him to the land of the living. She will follow him, but he cannot speak or turn back to check on her until they leave the underworld. Orpheus agrees and takes his leave, and once he nears the exit, he is actually relieved. But in a moment of weakness, he turns back to see Eurydice and she is taken by the underworld forever. Calliope is upset and believes Morpheus should have bargained with Hades. She has left him because he has always been too stubborn. However, she too thinks it is time for Orpheus to give up on Eurydice. He refuses and decides to ask for the help of the Sisters of the Frenzy, Dionysus's destructive cult. Once he finds them, they attack and tear him into pieces. Morpheus then finds Orpheus's dismembered head and sets up a temple to look after him. Orpheus begs his father to kill him, but Morpheus refuses, as an Endless isn't allowed to harm one's family. At present, Morpheus is conflicted, and Delirium tells Destiny that there are paths outside his garden. However, Morpheus decides to see through the quest. They're going to ask Orpheus for Destruction's location in exchange for a favour, and he's pretty sure it will be Orpheus asking Morpheus to kill him, which is where episode 5 of The Sandman Season 2 comes to an end. So The Sandman Season 2 delivers another solid chapter here, which fleshes out the characters, furthers the plot, and gives a fun retelling of a classic character or a myth. This time we get Orpheus and Eurydice's tragic love story. Making Morpheus the father is a nice touch, as the two are foils to each other despite being quite similar. Both are stubborn and set in their ways, but where Morpheus is calculative and realistic, Orpheus is a hopeless romantic. This is evident with the change in reason for his turning back. Most myths do interpret his action as doubt in Hades or doubt in Eurydice, but in this retelling it piles onto his naive persona. Delirium's dynamic with Morpheus is also quite interesting. While Morpheus and Death are quite the pair, He is a younger sibling in their relationship. He is constantly throwing tantrums and sulking when things don't go his way. The old hymn even brings up the emancipation when a beheaded Orpheus asks for his help. But with the fragile delirium, the 21st century Morpheus is forced to put on his big boy pants and accept his mistakes. He is quite protective of his little sister, even though he doesn't fully acknowledge it. And all of this sets everything up for season 6 to follow. Thanks for watching, and do let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Smash a like or subscribe to the channel, your support is very much appreciated. I'm Greg Wheeler, and from all of us over here at The Review Geek, we'll see you on the next video.